Yep. Behold, guys, Nintendo's newest logo. I couldn't come up with anything else for the intro for this episode. I struggled to make anything funny, anything cute, anything quirky related to the subject. I am just as angry and upset and confused as most of the listeners listening to this episode. And you know what? While we're at it, go ahead and put the makeup and the wig on me, because I'm part of the problem. I helped create this monster. Today I'm going to talk about it, and today I'm going to change. Go ahead and roll the intro.
You guys ready? Lobby up.
Hey guys, lobby up.
GG's, lobby up.
Dude, we gotta lobby up.
Lobby up.
Hey, should we lobby up?
Yo, lobby up.
Lobby up, y'all.
Hey, let's grab a beer. Lobby up. How's it going, everyone? Welcome to Lobby Up. You got Lewis in the pod today. Today's episode has been a hard one to produce. The current state of Nintendo has admittedly been a very hard pill to swallow. Full transparency with you, the listener, I have to make one thing very clear in this episode. I am a Nintendo fanboy. I love so much about Nintendo, and for years have ignored all of their shortcomings. Nintendo has had a vice grip on my nostalgia and love of gaming since the day I picked up a controller for the first time. In a time where it's a taboo to admit it, I have to in order to drive home my point on how wrong Nintendo really is. I have been an adopter of every Nintendo console ever made. I collect old Nintendo games, and I love the feeling I get when I play a top-tier, first-party Nintendo game. But I refuse to let my nostalgia cloud my bullshit radar, and let me tell you, what Nintendo is serving is a huge steaming pile. The Switch 2 reveal will be a case study for decades to come. The title, What Not to Do, after releasing the single most successful console of all time. You loser. PlayStation 2 still has the most amount of consoles ever sold, ever. You don't think I know that? You don't think I know PlayStation 2 pulled out 20 million consoles out of nowhere just to move the goalposts for the Nintendo Switch? Get out of here. And that right there is my problem with Nintendo. They're at the precipice of greatness, and they're throwing it away for what? Money, mula, dinero. All in exchange for the good faith of the gaming community. I refuse to let Nintendo's nostalgia, Nintendo's vice grip on my heart, Nintendo's grip on why I love video games cloud my bullshit radar. Because let me tell you, it's a steaming pile being served to us with a side of you. All right, listeners, take a walk with me. Come with me. Level with me. I'm going to say something that may be a little controversial, and I promise this has nothing to do with my love of Nintendo. I think that Switch 2 is reasonably priced.
You need to leave.
Put down your pitchforks, put down your torches, let me explain. At the time of recording, the base price for a Nintendo Switch non-bundled is $450. Gone are the days where Nintendo's biggest competition was the Xbox and the PlayStation. Those days are behind us. I mean, realistically, the Nintendo Switch was more of a partner console to either of the Xbox or the PlayStation fans. Now their competition is the Steam Deck and the ROG Ally. For a hybrid console that can be played handheld and on the TV at 4K, 120 frames per second to 60 frames per second, and it has Mario, Zelda, Smash Bros, and everything in Nintendo's library, I can get behind a $450 point of entry. That isn't really my issue. Not that I'm downplaying anybody's feelings in regard to the price. It is a price hike in regards to the original Switch. It's more than a lot of people were willing to pay. I totally get that. I guess I was expecting it to be that price point for about a year and a half at this point. So when I saw that price, I was like, oh, you know what? Okay, this sounds about right. In an age where exclusives are slowly losing their luster and MAUs are king, it seemed like Nintendo had it on lock. If Nintendo would have just left it at that, $450 to get in, they would have been golden. The price of admission would have ruffled some feathers, as it has, but the gaming community as a whole would have probably just been fine. They would have seen it as just another entry into the Switch family, and we would have moved on. But we live in the darkest timeline where Nintendo just be doing Nintendo things. So did Nintendo take the easy route? Of course not. After the hype of the Switch 2 wore off, a 10 out of 10 reveal, I might add, Nintendo let their greed flag fly. Let me get a minor annoyance out of the way here. $10 to tour your Switch 2 virtually? Are you freaking insane? Gone are the days of Wii Sports. Nintendo wants every cent you have, and they will get it, let me tell you. And if not, they're willing to sink their brand to try. God knows it's a bad look when the Reginator himself is on Twitter weighing in on the controversy. You have people arguing with Reggie Fils-Aimé himself. How? How can you possibly argue with the man? Definitely the most minor of the issues, but when I saw that that was a paid tech demo, I couldn't help but scoff even in the middle of the direct. I can't believe I'm pointing at PlayStation for a pro-consumer move. Astrobots on the PlayStation was free. A nice free little tech demo to wet your whistle for what your PlayStation 5 can do. That was Nintendo's chance to show some face, show some love, just for the early adopters of the Nintendo Switch 2. And yet, their greed took over, and that's going to be a theme for the rest of this episode. As we turn up the heat here, I can't wrap my head around paywalling a whole ass button on your controller. 5 Robux says if you accidentally press the C button, Nintendo will charge you like cell phones did when the internet was on phones in 2004. My kid's gonna accidentally press the C button and I'm gonna start sweating bullets because any minute Shigeru Miyamoto is gonna bust through my door, choke me, steal my wallet, slap my face, kiss my wife, and run out the door. That's Nintendo in 2025, people. At this point, I'm just happy that they let us see the Switch 2 reveal for free. Listen, I know I'm rambling, but as a Nintendo enthusiast, I've turned a blind eye to Nintendo shenanigans for a while now. And having games being priced at $80 digitally and 10 more for physical just takes the cake for me. The ripple effects can be catastrophic here, because if we, as a gaming community, bend the knee, the rest of the industry will follow through. Sony has been trying to find ways to sell their first-party games in chunks this whole generation. Rockstar is foaming at the mouth to sell GTA 6 for $100. EA will shoot for $90. Nintendo arbitrarily pricing their games based on their quote-unquote values. A value, may I add, that they make up on the spot is more than a slippery slope. It's a straight mudslide of shit. Gone will be the days of breaking down gaming purchases at $1 per hour. We will be looking at $3, $4, or even $5 per hour. Nintendo wants to charge you for every hour that you can possibly put into one of their games. They want to monetize every aspect of the gaming experience. And the worst part is they can get away with it. And if they do, the landscape will change across the board. Whether you're on PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo, heck, the PC gamers think they're safe. But EA, Ubisoft, and all of these really greedy developers are also on Steam and Epic Game Store. Not that anyone uses that, but it's going to ripple across the board to every corner of the gaming universe. So the big ask here is, what now? What can we possibly do to stop this? And all I got is a 4-word sentence. Vote with your wallet. That statement can mean a lot of things to a lot of different people. So here's what it means for me, Lewis, the host of Lobby Up. I'm a Nintendo fanboy. They have a vice grip on my whole gaming life. And this will be the first generation where I have to make some changes. Definitely on how I will be purchasing Nintendo products going forward. As a host of a gaming podcast, I gotta be in the know. I have to play some Switch 2 games. It's just part of the territory for being a gaming podcaster. But that doesn't mean I'm going to make this easy for Nintendo, and it doesn't mean that they're going to get my money, at least not directly. First and foremost, this is the first gaming console made by Nintendo that I will not be pre-ordering. I absolutely refuse to reward Nintendo with my money in advance for all the shit they've been putting us through this last month alone. Every conceivable chance that I have to bypass Nintendo, I will. The writing is on the wall for the Nintendo Switch 2. Mark my words, this is the last Nintendo console that will have any sort of physical gaming media. Switch 3, Super Switch 3, whatever comes next after the Switch 2 will be all digital. So for maybe the last time with a Nintendo product, I'm going to use physical games as my sword, if you will. Secondhand games is the way I'm going to go for Switch 2. Because as long as physical games still exist, there's still a chance I can get a game secondhand. A million times over, I'd rather give my money to a human being with a soul than to Mario and his cronies. Any chance that I get, I'm going to avoid directly financing Nintendo at every possible turn. I know there are a lot of Nintendo enthusiasts out there right now that don't know what to do. They feel backed into a corner. The internet is telling you to skip the generation. Your heart is telling you not to give money to this soulless corporation, but your love of video games is still there. And you know what? I get that. Like me, take baby steps. Find any little road that you can cut through to make sure Nintendo doesn't get money from you. Whether it's skipping the pre-order, buying a Switch 2 secondhand, not scalped. Let me go ahead and put that out there. Do not buy a scalped Switch 2 because that is arguably worse than buying a Switch 2 from Nintendo. But if you can find a reasonable way to buy anything secondhand so that Nintendo doesn't take your money, avoid buying that stupid camera, avoid paying a subscription to play GameCube games and Nintendo 64 games that they have sold you a million times over. Find little ways to chip at the machine and the machine will fall. I promise you that. But that's just me though. A Nintendo fanboy who can't condone this crock of shit, but also wants to play Zelda and Smash Bros. Here's the bottom line. If Nintendo is shaking their hardcore audience, what does that say about the casual gamer or the non-Nintendo gamer? There are folks out there who are fully committed to outright skipping the Switch 2. As a weak Nintendo fanboy, I must say you have my respects. Vote with your wallet. Make your voice heard. Make small, impactful decisions that'll hit Nintendo where it hurts. Their shareholders' wallets. Don't stop spamming social media. Keep telling them to drop the price. And if anybody tells you that you're doing nothing for the cause, then double down and do it for the both of y'all. Because at the end of the day, whether we win or lose, you know that you did your absolute best with what you could do within your power to make your voice heard. Thanks for lobbying up with me. See ya.